So if you've spent any amount of time in the competitive Pokemon scene, you've probably seen the discourse about winning with your favorite Pokemon, you know, enter that one Karen quote, yada yada. But here today, I want to talk about something different. What about the Pokemon no one gives a shit about? In Generation 9, Pokemon introduced Scovillain, the first ever fire and grass type. Now, for years there was a lot of hype around this potential type combination, because, you know, it's like two opposites, fire and grass. What would they do to combine them? And then a lot of people were speculating about like potential like chili pepper Pokemon. And then with Scovillain they did that, but it's kind of mid. I feel like everyone was a little let down by it. Its design kind of feels unfinished, like it's a second stage evolution with no third stage. However, Legends ZA came out, and its DLC. It gave Scovillain a Mega. And yeah, it is one of the Megas of all time. And again, well, before Scovillain's stats weren't great, now Scovillain's stats are a little better, but still not great. Having just 138 in both attack stats, it really lacks identity of what it wants to do, because its stats are just all over the place. It's not fast, it's doing damage but not enough, and it just doesn't have great defenses. And so no one's really caring about Scovillain, so I figured if no one else will, then I need to be up to the task. So, when Mega Scovillain was announced to be in Pokemon Champions, I started building a team around it. This journey all started about a week before Pokemon Champions released. On Showdown, they released a pre-Champions format, so a lot of people were speculating about what was going to be in the game. And then they announced Scovillain's ability, Spicy Spray, which is just 100% burn if any Pokemon attacks it, like Flame Body, but not have to be contact, and it can be even like special moves that get the burn. So 100% guaranteed. It's a really good ability, and it would be even better on a defensive Pokemon, but Scovillain is not that. But I like a challenge, so I decided to build around it. There were like early tournaments that were happening around the day it was dropping, that Pokemon Champions was dropping, and I went to enter. I wanted to have be super prepared and have a Scovillain team that blows everyone out of the water. So I got to work. So the rest of this video will be split into two parts. This first part is going to kind of show my madness in the builder as I iterated this team in the pre-Champions format. Though if you want to just skip to the second section, which is going to be replay review, there will be a timestamp for that. Anyways, enjoy my madness. Version 1. So here we've got Overheat, Rage Powder, Spicy Extract, and Protect. That is Scovillain's moveset. And so Spicy Extract is its signature move, +2 attack, -2 defense on whatever it's targeting. It's very weird because it both buffs and nerfs whatever Pokemon it hits. So it's really always weird to use. I know I see a lot in Scarlet and Violet, like on a Koraidon team, where it was like clear Amulet Koraidon gets the +2 attack but doesn't lose the defense. But other than that, it's like, how do you use this? Because you don't want to give your opponent an attack boost, or you don't want to give your own Pokemon the defense drop. But it does pair well with one move, Foul Play. So Foul Play got a slight buff in Champions. There are no more IVs. And what that means is now special attackers reduced to have 0 IVs for their attack stat. And that means they would take less damage from Foul Play, since Foul Play uses your opponent's attack stat in the damage calculation. And so basically, now that we don't have IVs, all Foul Play will get a little bit better into every special attacker. Not like a huge buff, but it can be meaningful and can affect some calcs. I feel like especially in restricted formats, once we get Calyrex back, that's going to come up a lot. So basically, the idea is I had my Foul Play user is Ninetales, and it's having black glasses because I wanted to boost that damage even further. It's never an item you see on Ninetales, but I thought it'd be funny. Basically, it sets up the sun for Scovillain, and you don't even have to Mega. You can delay the Mega and get a Spicy Extract off with Chlorophyll, and then Foul Play before a lot of targets can even move. And a lot of people weren't expecting this to OHKO, because they never really think about how Spicy Extract and Foul Play interact. Now also with that Foul Play, we've got Umbreon there, just kind of playing a bulky supportive set. and it's got stab foul play, so it does a little more than that Ninetales would, but it, again, doesn't have the advantage of Sun, and it doesn't have as much speed as that Ninetales does. So in certain situations, I want to use one, and in others, I want to use the other. So Dragonite and Sneasler here, they're kind of just make up the back. Two solid Reg H staples, because this format, a lot of comparisons has been drawn to Regulation H so far with like Sneasler, Basculegion, Archaludon, all those Pokemon that dominated Reg H are going to be legal here without all the legendaries. So a lot of people are kind of comparing the two formats. So I just figured I have these two solid proven mons that kind of help balance out my weirder cooks. And finally, I didn't want to commit to only using one Mega. I wasn't quite ready to throw all the cards in on Scovillain, so I headed Mega Frostlass, and I was hoping that would kind of balance things out and help with some of the trouble matchups like Rain and Salamence, but ultimately, the rest of the team didn't synergize with it, and I ended up having to make some changes. So, version 2, I wanted to try a new little gimmick, so we've got Ursaluna now, and Ursaluna has Guts that you get a boost if you're statused, and that includes Burn, and then it ignores the Burn because of Guts. So you really want to be burned on this thing. Normally you'd run Flame Orb to just activate that Guts, but I had the idea, what if I had a different held item, and then could just Earthquake next to Scovillain, activate that Spicy Spray, and get the Burn while still having like a Clear Amulet to protect Ursaluna from drops from Incineroar. And then also we have Grimmsnarl here over Umbreon. It's got that foul play, that stab foul play, but this time it's got its bulk of Reflect and Light Screen that can also help out Scovillain. Scovillain really wants to stay around a long time to get those burns off. And finally, I decided to ditch the second Mega and just go for Basculegion. I wanted something that could immediately threaten damage, because Scovillain kind of struggles with that. And there's a lot of situations where I can't get the foul play off. So Basculegion's good for those. But there are some problems with this. Mainly, you'd have to Earthquake your own Scovillain, and like I said, Scovillain doesn't have the greatest defenses. Also, both Pokemon are slow. Oftentimes, Mega Scovillain would just get doubled by the opponent, and then you wouldn't even be able to get the burn from Spicy Spray. So then you'd have this Ursaluna that was kind of neutered, and yeah, it just didn't go as well as I'd hoped. But version 3, I still tried to make it work. This time with Assault Vest, because I wanted to try and make it a little bulkier. And I was like, maybe if it's a little bulkier, that will help. It didn't. And then over Sneasler, I decided Zoroark Hisui, because there's another move that pairs really well with that Spicy Spray. And that is Hex, Ghost-type move. It doesn't do that much damage normally, but if you have a status condition, or if the target has a status condition, Hex will do double damage, and it can add up to a lot of damage. And Zoroark Hisui has one of the highest special attacks of Pokemon that get this move, and also is just like fast, so it kind of took that Sneasler place. Icy Wind also just added a bit of speed control, and also I was hoping to get some Illusion Mind games in there. But overall, Hex still wasn't even doing the damage I wanted, even with the extra damage from the burns. But, so, for version 4 of the team. This is a really big change, because I kind of changed the entire way Mega Scovillain worked. I decided just to go all in on bulk. I gave up on Spicy Extract, I gave up on Rage Powder, I gave up on like the Foul Play combo, because it just wasn't... It was nice. When it worked, but there was a lot of matches where I just couldn't get it off, and I felt bad about it. I felt bad. I was just sitting there and losing and doing nothing. So I decided I want to retry to build Mega Scovillain in a new way. So now I've got Giga Drain and Leech Seed on it. I'd kind of been debating Overheat and Giga Drain, so I could keep like a Rage Powder on there, because that could be useful, but then I realized I needed both Overheat and Giga Drain, because Overheat hits the Pokemon that can't be Leech Seeded, which are Grass types. So now Mega Scovillain has this role as just being really trying to be as bulky as possible, getting burns off, getting Leech Seeds up. It's really a war of attrition type thing, where you slowly like have your opponent die of a painful death while you heal up. And to combo with that, I do have Sinistra, which is also another Hex user. Normally Sinistra doesn't do a lot of damage, but I was hoping Hex could amplify that a bit. And also with its ability Hospitality, once Scovillain gets low, you can just swap in Sinistra, heal back up, and now they're really struggling. And especially once I even add Life Dew stacked on there, like physical attackers aren't going to have a good time. And then Metagross was added because I really did want a Steel type on this team to combo really well defensively with Scovillain. So I was hoping AV Metagross will give the team some of the bulk I want. And this is probably my least favorite version of the team, honestly. I don't even know what I was thinking. So I added back Sneasler, fighting damage is good, and the Hex Hisuian Zoroark wasn't working out as well as I'd hoped. And I only had room for one Focus Sash, and I felt Sneasler would be better. And yeah, it was. Sneasler's pretty good. And here we've got a Mega Feraligatr. So I was testing around with the idea of having a second Mega, and Mega Feraligatr was just not it. Dragon Dance set really failed to address the need of this team for immediate damage, which I kind of lacked. If you can see, I kind of lack that. Really, only Dragonite and Sneasler are my immediate damage dealers on this team. Even though Mega Scovillain has Overheat, it can deal respectable damage. It's just not enough, especially since it's all invested in bulk. So yeah, Mega Feraligatr, it didn't really help to cover Scovillain's bad matchup, so I just never really brought it. And when I did, I didn't even win with it. So version 6, I decided to go back to Basculegion. It felt like it was working well last time, with that ability to burst damage, being a nice water-type burst damage. And then I added Ninetales back, but this time a Lowland Ninetales over that Grimmsnarl. So one of my major problems with Grimmsnarl was the fact that it just kinda felt so passive. Once you get the Reflect up, you get the Light Screen up, and then you're doing nothing. Meanwhile, Scovillain's also kind of like doing the slow Leech Seed thing, so it's kind of both a lot of passivity. I was hoping Aurora Veil being one turn rather than Reflect and Light Screen being split up into 2 turns, I was hoping that would mean I'd be able to get to doing damage more, and having Fast Blizzard would hopefully help. Now, there was a fundamental problem with Ninetales, and it's that the screens are weather dependent, and this format has a lot of weather in it. Notably, one of the matchups I wanted screens the most in was Tyranitar. And for Tyranitar and Excadrill, they'd often be comboed together, and big surprise, the Ice Fairy type loses to Steel and Rock types. Who would have guessed? So yeah, I went back to Grimmsnarl. He's back! Yippee! Still don't feel too great about him, but he was definitely the better choice over Alolan Ninetales. And I feel like this is I kind of started hitting my stride with this team. I kind of started understanding how it works, when to go all in with the Scovillain, when to take it, when to have it be in the back, when to just lead Dragonite Sneasler, because sometimes that's just a good lead. I felt like I hit my stride. There's definitely still a lot of room to grow with this, but this is the first time I thought, maybe I can actually make a decent Mega Scovillain team. So now, version 8, I still wanted to test around with some things. Again, I was really allured by that idea of having a second Mega mode for the matchups that Mega Scovillain isn't good in, like Rain and Salamence. And Mega Metagross did help with Salamence, not as much with helping Rain as much as I wanted, but I was really stuck on this idea of a Steel type. So it was good, it just wasn't great. It didn't help out enough. So version 9, this was another big leap because things started to click very well. So notably, I decided to get rid of that Metagross, and instead, I also got rid of Sinistra. As much as I liked Sinistra, it comboed really well with Hospitality. It just sharing a flying weakness with Scovillain really hurt, and it was also, again, the issue of being too passive. Even with Hex, it wasn't doing enough damage. Now, originally, I did actually want to add Aegislash to the team over Sinistra. Originally, I was like, oh, that could be a good Hexmon that, with Shield form can defend, and then Blade form can attack, and it turns out it doesn't get Hex. So for a while I was like, I don't want to run Aegislash because then I'm not running Hex, but now I'm like, I feel like I wasn't getting much use out of Hex anyway. Aegislash helps out a lot because it's a good mix of bulk, damage, and utility. That wide guard comes into play in like a lot of matchups. Big one is like, of course, Snow. It can block blizzards, and also good into like blocking eruptions from Torkoal. But more importantly, I think this is the more interesting one, is that Samurai Hisui. So AV Samurai Hisui added a lot of the bulk I wanted, but also it's got a signature move, Ceaseless Edge. And that sets up the spikes, an entry hazard, it does damage whenever a Pokemon switches in. And this is important because one of the biggest ways to get around Leech Seed, just swap your Pokemon out. And even like, especially like Incineroar with Parting Shot made things very tricky. But now with the spikes up, they're punished for swapping. Also, its typing just really complemented a lot of the team's weakness. It's really good into all four weathers because the main snow setter is Frostlass, and that is Ice Ghost, and Water Dark walls that. Water Dark also walls Bastia Legion for rain, and with Assault Vest can take an Electro Shot. It's good into Sun because, you know, water is good into fire types. Who would have guessed? And even if a Charizard is running like Solar Beam, it can still take in a Solar Beam thanks to Assault Vest. And then Sacred Sword just one-shots Tyranitar, which really also helps out with that Sand matchup. So it really just felt like it clicked very well. Like normally Samurai Hisui wouldn't be considered that good, but I figure this is one of the best situations for it to shine specifically because it really complements what Mega Scovillain can bring to the table, while also covering for some of its bad matchups. Now, I still, like I mentioned earlier, I still had problems with Grimmsnarl. And so I was trying to figure out what could I do. I needed that Reflect for certain matchups, like, again, Sand it really helped with. So I decided, well, what is a Reflect if not just Intimidate? And so we got Budget Incineroar, Scrafty over here. Now, the reason I didn't use Incineroar is because I figured, like, for the Tyranitar matchup, sharing a rock weakness with Mega Scovillain could leave me in some bad situations, and being weak to ground, I also didn't want that. I think Scrafty just complemented my team better type-wise, even though it's inferior to Incineroar in most situations. And so, like, now I can just send out Scrafty, that kind of activates a Reflect without having me waste a turn using it. Fake Out really helps me get Mega Scovillain online too, because one thing about Scovillain is it gets the Moody ability before it Megas, so before then I can like Fake Out and then get a Moody boost. If I get a defense boost with that, I can basically just win games on the spot that way. It's a bit of gambly, but it has saved my ass a few times. But yeah, so this is current version of the team as I'm recording this, about 4.5 hours before the release of Champions. This is what I'm gonna import into Champions. I've got the Mons already. I got them in home. I'm gonna send them over to Champions. And then I've got about 36 hours to adjust this team to new developments, whatever new mega abilities are, and how that shapes the meta, any Pokemon that we are unsure if they're gonna be in the game or not. So I'm gonna have a little bit of time before I enter the tournament to adjust. So now you're in the future right now, where I've already competed in the tournament. So let's go to Future Abby to show the finalized version of the team with Champions changes. Let's get ready for this tournament. Woohoo! Hello, it's me again. I'm from the future now. Champions is out, and ooh boy, were there a lot of unexpected curveballs. So, first of all, not all the Megas were in the game. Notably, Mega Salamence wasn't in the game. And that's actually really good for this team because that was one of its worst matchups, and now I don't have to worry about it. However, there's also bad news in that some of the items are gone, and some of them were pretty essential to my team. Also, Scrafty's not in the game, so I'm gonna have to find a new slot for that. And, okay, back to the items. Before I get ahead of myself, I know it can be a bit ADHD sometimes. Welcome to my channel and my life. No more loaded dice. So, Scale Shot and Dragonite was really important, especially for the rain matchup, to be able to just KO those Pelipper's and KO Sash Sneasler before they could, you know, damage that Scovillain. But now, Dragonite's pretty useless to my team. And no more Scrafty. I've got 2 slots I need to figure out, plus no more Assault Vest on that Samurott, which is a bit of a shame. It can still do its role pretty well, but it's lacking a bit of that bulk that I wanted for it. So, I've been scrambling. Well, I did scramble. This is, again, in the future. This is after everything already happened. I had to scramble to find some replacements, so let me show you what the final product ended up being. So anyway, these are the 6 that I used. As you can see, I added a second Mega and Altaria. We'll get around to why I did that later. But first, let's take a look at the individual mons, and I can show off some of the spreads and the sets, and kind of tell you how it all comes together. So of course, we've got the star of the show, Mega Scovillain, and it's just fully bulk. I added 1 of the points in special attack and then 1 in special defense, but mainly it's supposed to wall a lot of the physical attackers, get them burned, be able to heal back up, and it's got that Giga Drain, Overheat, and Leech Seed, like I've had for the past little bit, and the Moody boosts always are nice. Alright, now here is Sneasler. It is an Adamant Sneasler, because I just wanted the stronger Close Combats and Dire Claws. Maybe I should have gone Jolly, but I'm still pretty happy with it nonetheless. It's just standard Sneasler. Fake Out, Close Combat, Dire Claw. Unburden isn't as important on the Focus Sash set as it is on some White Herb sets, but it comes in handy when it activates. Now, H's Slash I really like. It makes a good swap in for Scovillain. It covers that Sneasler matchup. Again, I just wanted to throw it all into HP, and then special attack. I wanted it to be able to do some damage, because a lot of the rest of the team doesn't. I actually did end up changing to Substitute to kind of get that, like, Sub-Seed kind of setup, and there are times where I can just get off a really cheeky Substitute, and then it just becomes really hard to deal with. And I liked it a lot. I feel like H's Slash was low-key one of the MVPs of this team. And now we got that Samurott. It is holding the Citrus Berry. It was used to be AV, but now Citrus Berry hopefully can act like some of that bulk AV got. Unfortunately, it means it can no longer survive an Electro Shot, which kind of ended up being a problem to some rain matchups, and that's part of the reason. You'll see later some of the decisions I made. And again, just really trying to bulk out this team. HP, attack, and it's got that same moveset. I still didn't go for Protect. I maybe should have gone for Protect now that it didn't have the AV, but having that priority of Aqua Jet came in handy so much that it's like, it's kind of hard to regret it. All the moves there played a really important role. And now the new Pokemon that were not on the pre-champions team. So Altaria has the same typing as Dragonite, and that Dragon Flying typing is very good for me. But notably, one of the reasons I want it is because before it Megas, it gets Cloud 9, which just really helps the rain matchup, theoretically. Though Altaria's stats in base form aren't that good. I just decided to go into speed and special attack so it can actually do something. And then Draco Meteor and Moonblast. I probably should have just gone for Hyper Voice, but my thinking was I'm not always going to want to Mega this thing. And sometimes I want to be able to have that fairy damage when I'm not Mega'd, but it really didn't end up being useful because if I'm not Mega, I'm not going to be doing much damage at all with that, so it might as well just have been better to go for Hyper Voice and then have a more damaging option in the Mega. It kind of was like this weird situation where it's like, I wanted to save Mega until after I dealt with their Weather Setter and I got control of the situation. So it was definitely a choice. I'm not sure if it was right, but again, I kind of had to scramble. And finally, in that Intimidate slot, I've got Weird Ear. I kind of just threw this on because I saw it in my ranch or whatever, the recruitment ranch, and I was like, ooh, Weird Ear could be good. It's got Intimidate and Trick Room. It's the only Pokemon to get both. And I thought, that could be another type of speed control. It might not get Fake Out like Scrafty did, but Trick Room can provide some similar value in certain situations. And they also buffed Psyshield Bash to be base 90 power when it used to be base 70, and I thought that was really cool. And so this was actually just how it came trained, and I was like, yeah, that's good for me. I just kept the special defense. I wanted something specially defensive. And then Adamant, it could actually do some respectable damage, and I don't think people were always expecting that, as well as being able to Psy-Shield Bash into Sneasler. And it's also holding the, I think it's Colbur is the Dark Resist. Yeah, Colbur is the Dark Resist. It's got a Colbur Berry, mostly because, like, the Intimidate slot, I want to use it into Tyranitar, so this way, Knockoff goes in, and I just eat the berry and can really take the hit really well. So yeah, that was the team I managed to cobble up together in time. I was still not happy with it, but I was like, I have a little bit more time to refine it. And then I got hit with some bad news. That tournament I thought was on the 9th. It was actually on the 8th, the day Champions came out. And I learned that about 20 minutes before it started. So I was like, I kind of just gotta lock in this team and hope it works for the best. Originally, the plan was for me to live stream this content. I was going to try and start streaming with this, but of course, with the 20 minutes notice, I couldn't get things set up in time. So I'm here on the couch, and we got some matches to review. And I got myself a little pasta dinner to go along with it. Some pesto, some elbow noodles, and some Italian sausage with Parmesan cheese, basically just whatever I could find. It is very yummy. And I got orange drink, or peach nectarine. So we're chilling. So here we've got game 1. I'm up against a Charizard Sun team with that Mousehold and that Sneasler. Very hyper offensive. I already locked in my Pokemon here. It looks like I am bringing Wow, okay, that is loud. Let me lower the volume on that. So I've locked in Samurott and Weirdeer at the front, wanting to get that Intimidate off. Yeah, and the Sneasler lead, in hindsight, once I've set out Samurott, I kind of realized my mistake. Especially since this does not have Protect on it, so it's just very vulnerable to close combat. But I'm gonna go for that Arteria switch in because, you know, I want to protect it for later. Hopefully it will help against the Charizard in the back. And meanwhile, I'm hoping that with the Weirdeer, I can take out the Sneasler here. Especially since it's White Herb and not Focus Sash. Yeah. So yeah, never a good start when you have to swap out one of your lead Pokemon. You usually want to lead to cover for whatever they can lead. And here we can see Close Combat did a lot into Weirdeer. And then they just doubled that into that, meaning my turn is basically useless. Because they predicted my swap out, and now I just basically burned a turn and a full Pokemon. So I'm already not in the greatest spot here. So now I'm like, I kind of got to get that Moody boost if I ever want to have a chance of going far here. The problem is if I protect, I can't even protect because of Whimsicott has Encore. So this is really just a I've lost on turn 1 type of game. You will see upcoming I lose this. But now I'm just so far behind, and especially with like a defensive team like this that really needs time to get rolling. When I've already lost a Pokemon on turn 1, I should have protected Weirdeer, or maybe just led better. Because Samurott, the problem is with that not having Protect on Samurott, I just really struggles to lead it because I can't like double protect for Fake Out, or I can't just protect and then deal with the Sneasler. And yeah, so Dire Claw comes out, already does most of Scovillain's HP, Like, I get the burn off, but at this point I'm almost 2 Pokemon down. And Alteria's not gonna be liking this either. I'm basically 2 low health Pokemon. And what, Draco Meteor's gonna save me? Well, it did actually kill. Okay. But now I don't even have special attack on this thing. And Charizard can just come in here and sweep. And Whimsicott's down to Focus Sash, but I'm like... It's still faster than everything else. Like, if there's any way for me to bring this back, it would have to be something with, like, Aqua Jet. The nice thing is Altaria is still alive, so I do get the, Cloud9, so they can't set weather, but it doesn't matter, because Heat Wave just picks them both up anyway. Okay, I protect with Altaria, but, like, Cloud9's nice, but it's not gonna, like, save me in the end, because now it just gets encored. And Scovillain just goes down. I was praying for the miss here. Really just, like... Wish I thought that through more. Like, the lead through more. Just because it was so passive, and I was really trying to get, like, a Trick Room off with Weirdeer, but it just couldn't work. Well, actually, no. I wasn't going for Trick Room because of... I think I clicked Side Shield Bash. Because I wanted that Sneasler gone. So that would free up Samurott, but it just took way too much work to get that Sneasler gone. Yeah, I take out Whimsicott, but, like... So what? I guess I didn't want to take a Moonblast, but Heat Wave... It's still just taking out Altaria here, and now it's just one Samurott against the world, and when that world is a Charizard Y with Solar Beam, that is not a world you want to live in. Oh, and just vulnerable to Fake Out anyway, so... Yeah, needless to say, not a great situation for me. I don't know. I probably should have put Protect on this thing, in hindsight. Not that that would have fundamentally saved this entire match, but like... There's just a bunch of the little things with this team that kind of added up and made it a struggle. And so we're ending the first round on a loss, but morale is low. But you will see, I do actually start to gain some momentum with this team. But first, I just want to go back and... So what would I do differently here? What should I have led? I think I should have brought Sneasler. That Sash in this very offensive matchup and that ability to have a fast Pokemon. I think that would have been great. Having a Fake Out lead could help me get Scovillain set up, or potentially just, like, get a Moody boost. And then... I guess Weirdeer, maybe not Weirdeer, I think I was overcompensating for that potential, like, Garchomp. I wanted to intimidate that, or the Sneasler, but the Sneasler was White Herb, so it was like, yeah, I can Side Shield Bash it, but, like, I'm still not intimidating it, and I'm just giving it an Unburden boost. So I probably should have swapped Sneasler for Weirdeer and led something like Sneasler Scovillain. It's still not great. Or Sneasler or Altaria and gotten the Tailwind up. That way I could keep up. My Sneasler could match Tailwind with everything else. But yeah. So in hindsight, not bringing Sneasler was kind of my big downfall. Alright, so game 2, it had this Mega Gyarados team. Now, I don't think I faced a single Mega Gyarados before this match in any of my testing. But I also knew Scovillain was pretty good into it. Just because, you know, physical attacker, doesn't like getting burnt. So yeah, I'm just gonna lead Scovillain to get it online as soon as possible. And then, I guess I just want that Intimidate as well. So I can intimidate that Gyarados, threaten that Sneasler, and then just have my bulky Aegislash in the back. And then Samurott kinda just has some good type matchups into stuff like Aegislash, Sinistcha, and even Mega Gyarados once that Megas. This battle, I think, really shows off the highlights of this team. So we've got Scovillain and Weirder on the field. That Intimidate should help us against that Gyarados, and it activates White Herb on Sneasler, but it's also threatening a kill, so they can't just leave Weirder unattended. And I think I'm just going to protect here for a Moody boost. Just sometimes it is just best to gamble for that. If I get a defense boost, I can just automatically win the game here. I forget which boost I get here, so I'm excited to see what I get. They're just ripping that Mega right away with Mega Gyarados. Which actually helped me, because now Giga Drain is super effective instead of neutral. So honestly, it might have been scarier if they weren't Mega Gyarados. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot Mega Gyarados was a Dark type. And here I'm like, oh, they have Lash Out. It's Stab Lash Out. But luckily that Colbur Berry means I can hang on by a thread. And then take out the Sneasler with Style Shield Bash. Even though I'm intimidated, like, that 4-time super effective is just so nice. That is kind of one of the reasons that drew me to Weirder as an intimidator, is just being able to one-shot Sneaslers like that. Wait, what boost did I get there? I was not paying attention. I got speed. That's not the boost you always want to see, but it can come in handy, especially now because I can outspeed Gyarados. And potentially whatever they throw in next, which is that Hydreigon. Which, yeah. Now, I think I can just go for a Seed here, probably. Or I go for that Giga Drain. I don't want to get greedy with the seeds. That's a good idea. Sometimes I get too greedy and go for the Leech Seed and when I should just step on the gas. And this is a good moment to step on the gas because I got that speed boost. And I'm going to switch out Sneasler or Weirder here because, you know, saving an Intimidate for the back can be useful, especially into that Gyarados, which has Dragon Dance, so I don't want to let that thing get set up. And if it does get set up, I want to be able to neutralize it with Intimidate. So yeah, doing over half with that Giga Drain. Sometimes it's time to go bulky with Scovillain. Other times, it's just good to step on the gas. Especially right here, because I'm taking a Draco Meteor, and you don't love to take it. But the burn is nice, and now that Hydreigon is low in special attack. Alright, down goes Scovillain, but that's fine. Got a lot of damage onto that Gyarados. Oh, holy shit, I'm choking over here. But I got damage into the Gyarados, and it got 2 burns off. And that's really, like, a good day to be that, Scovillain. Like, it did its job. And here, Aegislash, sure, it's in front of 2 Dark types, but Hydreigon's at -2, Gyarados is at -1, and it's burned. So it's like, even though I'm sitting in front of 2 Dark types, Aegislash is just so bulky, and they're so weak, that even like a double up here would not take out. And that's not even mentioning the fact that they really can't do anything into that... Fuck, what's its name? Samurott. Yeah, so here, Dark Pulse doesn't even do half. Lash Out, it's gonna tank this. Yeah, just very easily tanking this. Sacred Sword knocking out Hydreigon. So now they're down to their last two, and one of their Pokemon is severely stunted. And I'm just gonna go for the Substitute, because I'm just gonna go for Substitute because they're not threatening me at all. And then I can just get Leftovers Recovery while they're just not even gonna be able to do anything about it. And I pretty much checkmated them at this point. Like, yeah, Sinistcha comes out, but guess what? That's weak to Aegislash, and that's weak to Samurott. Yeah, just King Shield, get a little more of that recovery. Also don't want to risk getting doubled up upon. Machigata is going to come out, but it's not the most damaging move. Samurott, actually, okay, I was wrong. Samurott does not tank. That just goes to show how much I remember, but still, it's fine. Because that Aegislash is in such a good position. So even though I have, like, severely low health Pokemon, they just are not gonna be able to do anything about it. That was good pasta. Okay, just protecting the Weirdeer. Hoping that they, like, go for that instead. So Lash Out is gonna go into the Aegislash, but it doesn't even break sub. Like, that's how low their damage has gotten. It doesn't even break sub. And I avoid the Machigotcha here. Not that it matters, but... So now it's time to go into offensive mode with that Aegislash Shadow Ball into Sinistcha for the knockout. Leaving Gyarados all alone. And yeah, pretty simple cleanup right here. So yeah, I feel like that match went really well. I was able to leverage the burns from Spicy Spray to basically just ruin their offensive sweeper. And yeah, here we got Shadow Ball for the finish. And that is game. Alright, here we've got the third game, and it's Mega Floette, which is one of the new Megas that's really taking over the metagame of early Reg MA. But the thing I'm more worried about is that Glimmora, because both of my Mega Pokemon are weak to it. So, right now, when I'm selecting Team Select, I'm really trying to think about that Glimmora. And I just want to, like, if they lead Glimmora, I want to be able to get it out of there as soon as possible. That's why I'm leading Sneasler, because it can outspeed and do some decent damage to it. And then Aegislash is bulky enough to take hits from it. And then hopefully I can send out Scovillain in the back. And then I'm really thinking about that third Pokemon. Let me see if I can predict it. It's probably going to be Samurott. Just because Sacred Sword can do some good stuff into King Gambit, and the water moves can be good into Glimmora. Alright. So they do not lead the Glimmora, but they do lead Floette. And I've got my two best Pokemon into Float out on the field. Well, two of them. Scovillain's actually really good into Float. That is one nice thing about this team, is Float struggles into the Scovillain stuff. And I've also got two Pokemon that are threatening super effective damage against it. And while I am intimidated, Float still wouldn't want to take a Dire Claw. So yes, that Fairy Aura can threaten a lot of damage. I'm just going to go for the Fake Out though. I just want to be able to make sure that if Incineroar tries to Fake Out me, that I'll be fine. And then I just use the opportunity to get a sub up. Because with my Fake Out, they're not really threatening offenses. Like, sure, Incineroar is super effective against Aegislash, but it's not going to knock out. And this way I can get the sub up, start getting that leftovers. And now that Float's really not in a position to do anything at all. I mean, it can do damage. It's still going to do damage into that Sneasler, but I just swap it out for, again, because this is a really good time. I can get a free Moody boost. Meanwhile, they're not really threatening anything into my 2. And King Gambit's coming out, and, whatchamacallit, Jalapeno Man, or Pepper Man, what, fuck. Why can't I think of the name? Scovillain, that's his name. Scovillain loves sitting in front of King Gambit. You can just overheat it, or you could, if you want, you can just leave it alone, kind of just like, because they can't attack you, or you can just Leech Seed it, and just be sucking health from them. Meanwhile, they get burned. Alright, I take that Flash Cannon. It goes into that King Gambit, because that was originally where the Float was. But it still does a bit of damage. But the more important thing is they're just giving me turns to get that leftovers recovery. And I get a special attack here. I don't love the special defense drop, but luckily since I'm a fire type, I do resist fairy moves by default, so I'm still in a decent position to take those attacks. I'm just gonna protect again. Reset stance change. Get Moody boosts. See, this team does not mind playing a little passively and just letting these boosts stack up. And that is both, it's a double-edged sword, because in some slower matchups it means I really do well. But if they've got fast offense stuff and I can't really afford to play passively, it really makes my team struggle. So it's definitely one of those teams where it's like, very situationally good. And that's kind of my thoughts on Scovillain as a whole. I do get the defense boost, which is really nice in front of two physical attackers, because now I'm just like, alright, throw whatever you want at me, I can take it. But yeah, so Scovillain, it really loves these more, like, balancy teams. And if it's gonna, like, find a place in this meta in the future, it's gonna be as kind of this counter to balance, in a way. Alright, we got the Mega, we've enough Moody boost. They fake me out, but that's okay, because my defense is so high that it doesn't really matter. And if they try to attack me, they're just gonna have a bad time and get burned. And here, I go for the Shadow Ball into the Incineroar. I guess I'm just trying to get a little bit of chip damage off. There's not much else for me to do, but I don't want to lose my substitute. The thing is, like, normally it's like, oh, if Aegislash wasn't doing anything, I'd want it off the field. But even just having that substitute is very nice. And, like, what are they gonna do into me? Because Scovillain is not taking any damage from these two. Even Sword Stance King Gambit, like, they're really disincentivized from attacking into it. Because if they do, I'll just live the hit, and then burn them, and then heal back the HP anyway. That is the beauty of the Scovillain. And here I'm like, I'm just gonna go for the Leech Seed, because I expected to swap into, well, I was kind of expecting them to swap into Float there, so I was hoping, like, oh, I can get the Leech Seed off into Float, And yeah, unfortunately, that was not the case. Oh yeah, I also flash cannon because I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to cover for the Floette switch-in, but if I had Shadow Balled there, I just would have taken out the Sinistra. So I was really, like, covering for that Incineroar, going for, like, a parting shot of some sort. I'm trying not to play, like, too offensively right now, because I know I've got them on the back foot, and I can just leverage my Leech Seed. Because if they swap out, I can just be like, oh. Because I could just launch the Overheat here, but then that kind of comes with the disadvantage of, oh, if they just switch into Incineroar, I just lose some special attack that I did not need to lose. So I'm just playing it safe and covering for a lot of options. Again, that King Gambit really isn't threatening me. Because, like, look, it does, like, half damage here, but I've got Leech Seed up, and now it's burned. And now it's just damage potential is so much lower. And then that Flash Cannon finishes Sinistra. Again, just covering for if for some reason they swapped into Floette there. They had no reason to, but I was like, if this is gonna knock out anyway, I might as well Flash Cannon. And now this is a sad King Gambit. A weak little bitch King Gambit. And so what? I don't really care if Floette's out here. And remember, I still have my special attack boost. And I kinda also... A big thing is I wanted to save the special attack boost. I could have overheated the King Gambit, but I wanted to just save that +2 special attack boost for that Floette, just to be able to launch a super high-powered attack at it and really ruin its day. Again, just going for the protects here just to reset stance on Aegislash. And also, I was hoping to get some more recovery, but they swapped into Incineroar. But that does mean they lose the boost, the Sword Stance boost, so... Honestly, I still feel very positive about this turn, even though now I'm vulnerable to Fake Out. Because again, I might not be making much progress, but neither are they. The Calm Mind is the one scary thing that they do have going for them. However, I've still got all Pokemon in the back. I've still got that Sneasler that can deal super effective damage. I still have Substitute on Aegislash. They have done nothing to break through that. So I could just launch Flash Cannons at it, and sure, it won't do a ton of damage because of the Parting Shot and because of the Calm Mind. But they're also not in position to do damage to me. Like, they're Fairy-type attacker in front of 2 Fairy Resists. Yeah, Dazzling Gleam pops out. And because of that special defense ref, it actually gets a little closer than I'd want. However, you know, I'm bulky enough that I can tank it. I can get that burn. They finally break that sub, and I could just launch Overheat here. Which just knocks out because I had that special attack boost. Oh, it crit as well. I don't know if it needed crit, but I think I was in a fine position either way. Because again, Sneasler's still in the back. Weirdear's still in the back too. Not that Weirdear would do anything here. Yeah, and they just see the writings on the wall there and click that forfeit button. And now I'm 2-1 and feeling pretty good. Here we go. So now we got T-Tar Sand. Now, despite being a fire type, this actually has a pretty decent matchup into T-Tar Sand because none of these Pokemon love getting burned. And then I can just... They're all physical attackers, so that Intimidate can really just double down on that. So here, I'm just going to lead my standard lead into Sand, which is just that Scovillain and Weirdear. And then the Sneasler in the back is good for cleanup. And then Aegislash is just a good old solid Mon. And I think I really wanted something that was good into that Sylveon. I don't think they're bringing Sylveon here, but I just wanted it just in case. And hey, it's a bulky Pokemon. It's never bad to have around. But here they actually don't. Usually they do lead their Sand mode into this. But they actually don't here, and I'm fine with that, to be honest. because that puts me under no pressure to terrestrialize, and I can just start stacking up Moody boosts. So they're trying to stop me from getting a potential Trick Room up. But I'm not even going for Trick Room. I'm just trying to be bulky and just get those boosts stacked up. They're really not threatening me. And that's the thing. If they don't threaten me immediately, that's when this team can really shine and get going. And unfortunately, attack boost is not what you want. So I got unlucky there. Any other boost would be good, but not attack. And so I'm just trying to take out that Whimsicott here. Like I said, really no threats to me. They're gonna parting shot out, but like, I'm already at -2. I don't really mind. And Garchomp hits the field. I doubled into that slot because I thought Whimsicott might swap out for some reason. No, wait, I didn't double into the slot. I'm an idiot. Scratch that. I decided to Leech Seed into that slot because I knew Incineroar was going to parting shot out. And getting a Leech Seed into Garchomp or Tyranitar would be really good. And look, it is. I get my special attack back up. Special defense is not great, but it's fine because their only special attacker is that Whimsicott. And now that I've got Garchomp on the field, I'm like, I need to rip this Terra. I need to make sure my defenses are as high as possible. And then I can survive the shot from Garchomp. And then they'll be burned and I'll heal back up. And again, Incineroar coming out, like, they bring out Incineroar in these matchups like it's some sort of gotcha, but I don't really care. Incineroar plays very passively against this team, and I like that. And so here we got Mega Garchomp. Again, it's a lot of more damage, but I'm getting out my Mega too, so I can take that damage. They go for Rock Slide. It doesn't even do half, and that's before the burn. They did crit Weirdeer. I'm not too happy about that, but again, Weirdeer's just kind of here to sit there, and honestly, I could probably switch it out, but I don't want to risk anything in the back. And right now, they're also not threatening me, so I don't feel any need to. Like, they're not putting any pressure on me. And yeah, I'm just gonna try and set up another Leech Seed, because why not? And high horsepower just to chip down that Incineroar. They swap out. Obviously, they don't want to take that continuous Leech Seed. But again, they're just giving me more time. I'm just gonna get my Leech Seed up. I'm gonna heal back up a little. I don't care that I have Sandstorm out, because, like, I'm still going positive on health. And I'm really just chipping away at their team. And now I'm just gonna go Giga Drain. I want to start doing some damage. I've played this Leech Seed game long enough where I've gotten to a point where it's just like, I'm ready to start ripping some damage. I forced them into positions that they're not super happy in. And now that I'm lower on health, that Giga Drain is going to do more value than the Leech Seed would. They go for Rock Slide. Unfortunately, because of the Helping Hand, it does knock out. But, again, Spicy Spray. Now they're really, like, not gonna do as much to me. And now I've still got Sneasler, who has a great offenses, and that bulky Aegislash in the back. So despite being down, like, 4-2, I'm still in a great spot for this game. And right now, Sneasler's the fastest thing on the field. I think their Tailwind is gone. And honestly, because the burn, I feel confident enough to just go into that Incineroar. And set up a substitute. Like, I don't have to worry about Tyranitar anymore, because it's not threatening me in the same way it would. Plus, they're just going to protect anyway for the Sneasler, so I'm like, why not just knock out that Incineroar? The Incineroar's more of a threat here anyway. And they just gave me the sub for free. I love free subs. And already, healing up with that leftovers, I don't care about Sandstorm because I'm a Steel type. Whimsicott comes out, sure, they can make their, Tyranitar faster. Oh wait, I think they do actually Encore me. I forgot Encore does go through Substitute. For some reason I thought Encore blocked it, but it doesn't. So you'll see them Encore me, but it doesn't matter. Like, they're still not doing anything with it. Tyranitar's burned. It can't hit Sneasler. Aegis Slash is fine to keep substituting because it's just so bulky anyway. They really messed up by not stepping on the gas earlier. Because if you give this team an inch, it will take a mile. However, the problem is, if they don't give you an inch, you kind of just lose. It's not a perfect team. As much as I tried to make it the perfect team, a lot of the last-minute shifts kind of threw wrenches and things. They knock off, and like, so what? And the nice thing about the substitute, its knockoff doesn't even get rid of my item. I still get the leftovers. And guess what? I'm just substituting again. Like, sure, I'm losing a bit of health, but the leftovers is gonna keep me alive. Now that Whimsicott's gone, they can't reapply Encore. So I'm kind of fine waiting out the timer. And now they just got 2 burn Pokemon. So here, I think I double protect here just to get some extra burn chip off. I just want that burn to do as much damage to that Garchomp, so I can finish it off with the close combat. Because again, what is Tyranitar going to do to Sneasler? I can close combat that to finish it off at any time. The Garchomp is what's really threatening me. And luckily, locking me into sub was actually kind of what I needed here anyway, because I just was able to keep taking the Garchomp sets. I don't care if you're Sand Force. I don't care if you're Mega Garchomp. I'm just gonna keep subbing. Always be subbing. That's what I'm always saying. And now you even lose your Sandstorm. So now I'm not taking chip on my Pokemon, on my Sneasler. You're not getting the damage boost. And I just close combat you now. Come on. Rip that close combat. As tempting as it is to just knock out that Tyranitar, it is a sitting duck. Yeah, and still locked into Substitute, but this is the last turn, I believe. So close combat. I wasn't sure if this takes out, but it does. It crit. Actually, I forgot it crit. Okay. Well, maybe there's a bit of luck. And yeah. And Tyranitar is now just close combat bait. I'm kind of feeling confident. The first round was not great, but now I'm kind of hitting my stride. But yeah, I forgot. It is Choppleberry. So I didn't want to just go straight into close combat because I wasn't sure if it would kill, but since it was already tripped, it's gonna kill. So as you can see, I was doing pretty well in the tournament. I won a few more matches and lost one. However, it kind of ended up tragically in a way, because after one of my rounds, it was round 7, the game just broke on me. I kept getting error codes and nothing would work. I tried restarting my Switch, restarting my Wi-Fi. The only thing that worked was deleting the game and reinstalling. So yeah, there's a lot of complaints to be had about Champions, and that is so valid because really it's yeah. But I still had a fun time overall with my 5-2 record. I was pretty happy with the work I put in for Scovillain. And I'm looking forward to more Champions content. Let me know what ideas you have. I'll put the rental team up if you want to take a crack at this yourself, or if you have better ideas of how to make Mega Scovillain work, let me know and maybe I'll revisit the concept. Yes, I know Wolfie has already made a Mega Scovillain team. This was made before that. Clearly this is the universe punishing me for being too slow to upload this video. I meant to get this on a lot sooner. Oops. Anyways, for now, this has been my journey with Scovillain. Thank you for watching.